so that part worked out good.
Yeah,
That worked out good.
Tracy's great here and in science department.
Good morning. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. We're the 2022 Board of Equalization and Review for Union County. We've been appointed by the county commissioners to hear any and all taxpayers with respect to concerns, complaints regarding the valuation of their property for tax purposes. Property owners appearing before the Board of Equalization and Review have the right to a fair and equitable hearing. The Board of Equalization and Review has been charged with ensuring that the proper legal principles have been applied in a valuation dispute for tax purposes. So kind of the format, we'll try to keep this as informal as we can, but the way we'll handle it, the clerk, Ms. Robin Mary, will call the case, and then she'll locate the property on the monitor so we can all see it, okay? And then we'll have you come to the podium here and just present your information to the board, okay? And during that time, after you finish, the board will have a chance to ask you questions, okay? And then someone from the county will present their piece. We'll have an opportunity to ask the county any questions, okay? Any questions, if you would, please direct them to me. During your time, we're going to give you your time to speak to the board. The board ask questions, so while the county is doing their piece, there'll be no questions from you. I mean, you just need to direct them to me, okay? After that part is finished, I will circle back for any final comments that you may have. After we hear all the cases, we'll go into the deliberation phase of the hearing, and the board will notify you, of the decision within 30 days. Keep in mind any evidence that you have, it needs to be effective 1/1/21 or before, because the date of the revaluation is 1/1/21. So if you're coming in here with information 2 or 3 months ago, we can't use it because that's after the reevaluation date. And the burden of proof, is on the taxpayer to demonstrate that the assessment is erroneous. Okay. Any questions? And if you would, any cell phones, if everybody could silence their cell phones. I'm usually the worst one, so I think I got mine turned off. If no other questions.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Today's hearing is going to be slightly different from the ones that we heard in the spring. These are personal property cases, so there's really not a property to locate per se.
Okay.
And
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. And then the other half of it are exemption applications. So
Okay.
I didn't pull up the computer or anything for that. So we'll go ahead and proceed to hearing number 1. The property key is 411651, and the owners are Landmark Material LLC. The taxpayer is not in attendance, but he did send in a note. It should be on the first page of your book after tab 1. He is requesting a waiver of the annual late list penalty because he had filed for an extension which was approved, but he thought the date was March 31st, and we received the listing form on the 20th. Our extension date, which he was provided in writing, is March 15th. If you have any particular questions, you can address them to Barbara Delaney, the personal property supervisor.
Have they ever been leaked before?
No, but this is not a audit. This is an annual listing.
All animals?
Yes, sir. And they requested and received an extension to file their listing form. We notified them in writing that the date that our Board of County Commissioners have set for an extension date is March 15th, and they didn't file their listing until March 20th because they thought the listing date was March 31st. So it would be similar to, you know, a late listing that was filed after January 31st. This is an annual listing, not an audit.
Can I ask you a question? How often does that happen?
Very rarely.
So if someone was doing it, they know the times and everything, is that what you're saying?
Well, they're notified in writing what the date is. So in December, normally, you know, CPAs, accountants, self-filers, whoever believes that they need an extension past the January 31st statutory, you know, filing date, they would file in December because they have to file by January 15th.
January 31st,
Well, the extension request.
January 31st.
Okay. But we start getting them in December. And then we notify them either by email or in writing that the date that Union County has accepted as the extension date is March 15th.
So they
Now-
had that,
Yeah.
okay.
Mike, you have any questions? Ray, any more questions? Okay. Do we hear from the county this time?
Again, they requested the extension timely. They had until the 15th to get it in, and then they sent it in on the 25th. So they thought they had until the 31st, but it clearly, they were notified that they had until the 15th.
Mhm.
So we denied the wait list request.
One last question, when they finally filed it, was it filed, did they do it themselves, or did they have a CPA or somebody doing it?
Good question.
I'd have to go back and look at the listing. I didn't have that here with me.
Okay.
Ray, we didn't check into that information because, again, it's not an audit. So to us, it doesn't matter if it's a self-filer or a CPA. You missed the date, you missed the date. And there's nothing we can do about it.
Thank you, that's all.
Mike, any questions for the county? Mark?
No, sir.
Okay, we're good.
Okay?
Okay.
Let's go on to tab number 2. The account number is 622002, and the account name is Asset Recovery Direct LLC, and that taxpayer is in the audience with us today.
Okay. Come on up if you would. And your name?
Mark Rhodes.
Okay. Are you the owner?
I am, sir.
Okay, okay. Let you go ahead and present your information. I think we've got copies of your,
Yeah,
of what you got.
Yeah, I
Okay.
emailed in a copy.
Okay,
Essentially, the letter and the assessment of the value for, it's an enclosed trailer that we use for what we do for work, was assessed at $11,020. And the copy I sent you, when we bought this trailer brand new from Kaufman Trailers, we paid $4,300 for it. It's going on 2 years old. We've had some depreciation to it as well, so I had a hard time seeing how the assessment got to almost 3 times the amount of what the trailer was purchased for. That's basically all I have for it.
okay,
I think there was just a little misunderstanding on the value.
right. Okay, with that, Mark, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Mike? Ray?
Is this, is this something for storage?
Yes, sir. Bringing tools to and from my job, that's it. It's really fairly not used that often, to be honest with you,
It's all personal property, right?
for the most part. And as far as a value, and being devalued, I didn't bring that with me. I didn't even think about this, but it was currently broken into about 4 months ago, and I got a Union County record on it, so it's had some damage. Some people thought tools were in it, there weren't even in it, and they cut off the hinges and removed the doors, which was a lot of work for nothing.
Yeah.
It's an enclosed trailer.
Yeah, is this like one of those mobile offices you see on construction sites, or is it?
No, no, sir.
Like a storage
It's
container.
a simple double-door enclosed trailer, wood floors, there's not even anything in it, it's just a shell.
Right, okay.
I mean, there's nothing, I mean, we literally load equipment into it, take it to the job. When we're done, we take it back to where we park it, and that's it. It's a basic enclosed 7-foot by 16-foot trailer.
Okay,
There's nothing special to it.
okay, okay. Hold on just a second, we'll have the county present their information. Oh, hold on.
How long have you had this thing?
About a year and a half, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years as of this coming January 5th.
What was tax day the year before?
The year before, because of when we bought it, it was in between, so I didn't have it until this year. So I couldn't tell you because I didn't receive one.
Any other questions? Okay. We'll hear from the county.
Okay. The taxpayer was notified in January with a listing form with the value on it. Once they had the 30 days to send it back, we did not receive it back. So we send out a non-lister letter with the value on it, giving them 30 days to appeal in April. We didn't receive that back. So at the time of billing, the taxpayer has wanted to appeal the value at that point. And our notice says that if you have been notified of value prior to that tax bill, you can appeal the value. We did adjust the value for 2023 going forward, and that's what we've done.
What was that number?
For 2023,
Right.
we adjusted it down to 3,687.
Okay, okay. Questions? Ray?
So the value for this year is?
11,020.
So next year is going from 11 to 3.
Yes. We picked up the value based on our TAC data because we send out cost letters asking for information when we first list it in our system, and we didn't receive any response from that. Then we send out the listing notice with the value on it, no response to that. Then we send out the non-lister letter, and again, no response to that. So we have to go with the value of something, and again, we use our tech data, which is a commonly used value in our system.
So your system?
I'll come back to you.
At this point in time, shows 11,000 for this exact same type of trailer.
Yes, sir.
Just
Mr.
seemed
Chairman.
odd to me that Pay 4,300 and you got 11. It just seemed a little odd.
Mr. Chairman.
But they had, you say they had a chance to appeal that with the central letter.
Yeah.
They did. Again, we send these notices out and we verified that the address was correct, because sometimes the address may have been incorrect, but we verified the address was correct that we were sending it to. The taxpayer didn't respond to anything, so when he did get the tax bill and responded, we said, we will adjust the value going forward, but there's not anything we can do at this point.
Okay.
We may have some additional clarification here, too.
Just a couple of points. Tech Data Systems is a company, it's a valuation system that is used statewide. All 100 counties use that. So that's, and it's also, their values flow into DMV for valuation of vehicles, okay? So that is not a valuation system that the county developed, that is a statewide system. So that's one thing. And just to piggyback on something Barbara said, she mentioned that the taxpayer received a notice in April with the assessed value, and she said that the notice says you can't appeal. It's not that the notice says you can't appeal once the tax bill goes out, general statutes say that if you've received notice of value prior to the billing, you have no appeal rights after tax bills are generated and sent out. So that, just wanted to point those two clarifications.
Okay. Ms. Rhodes, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Mark?
No, sir.
I think Mr. Rhodes had an additional comment.
Well, as far as the notice goes, that's the reason why I'm here. I know the county's saying they mailed it out. If I would have gotten that notice, and I've made 2 emails to the county, it wasn't directly to you. I don't have her name, it's on here somewhere, but I can get the name for you. I told her I never saw this notice. If I saw this notice with this amount, obviously I cared enough, I would have taken care of it, because I cared enough, I'm personally here to discuss this. I wouldn't have just brushed this to the side. I'm a small business, I can't afford mistakes. So I appeal to all of you, I know what the rules are, but, you know, it's my word versus what was done. But I never saw a notice in April, I would have been on top of it immediately. But, you know, it's hearsay, it's what I'm saying versus what the county says they've mailed, and I don't want to argue that. I'm just saying I never saw the notice, or I would have taken care of it.
Understood.
And as far as the data goes that you use by the county, that's a general thing that they loop in all types of trailers, not my particular trailer. So that could be a what's called a lowboy that's used for hauling, which is a more expensive trailer than my enclosed trailer. So the data has to be adjusted some, as a suggestion, because there's a million trailers like mine with different setups that, yeah, I could make it worth 20,000 versus what mine is. And I called Kaufman before I came in here, and they didn't email me back in time, but even with inflation, my trailer, brand new, sells for 5,200 with
Okay.
inflation from 2 years. Just to give you some reference points as far as the data goes.
Right. I got you on that.
And that's pretty much all I have. I feel like
Okay.
this is straightforward.
Yeah.
I hate that we're here wasting your time and mine
Yeah.
over saying that we missed a letter. But all I can tell you is, you know, I never saw it. And I'm not sitting here to blame anybody. It's just,
Yeah. I think we've got a good handle on the scope of
Right,
everything
right.
there. So I appreciate you appearing today. And as I said before, the board will take it under consideration, and you'll be notified, you know, within 30 days.
okay, I appreciate your
All right.
time. Thank you.
All right, appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Do I need to stay, or? how
You're
does
welcome
this
to, whatever you want to do. It's going to be a little while, and then we'll get into the deliberation
Well-
phase of the hearing. Okay?
I'm going to take off, so
Okay.
take off.
Okay.
I can't stand long. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we'll move on to tab number 3. The account number is 299866. The company name is Steel Mountain Transport LLC.
Okay,
Just a little background on this one. This is an audit finding. So there are late list penalties for all the years of the audit. The company is a self-filer. We can't recommend that you waive the late list penalties, so that's why you don't have a staff rec in front of you.
Right.
But we told the taxpayer that we would, you know, tell the board that our normal policy is if it's a self-filer on an audit finding, late list penalty, that we would waive the late list penalty one time.
right, okay.
So that's what this case is. If you have any, you know, particular questions, you can direct them to Ms. Laney.
Okay. So is Ms. Laney here, or, oh, I kept thinking.
Barbara.
Okay,
No, the taxpayer's not here.
okay, okay, I thought the taxpayer was here. Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, sorry about that, Barbara. Okay. Board have any questions, Ray?
They've never been late before?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mark?
No, sir.
Okay. Good with that. Do we want to, let's see,
Okay. Moving on to tab number 4. The parcel number on this tab is 05114-153. The property owners are Keith and Juanita Sherman, and they are in attendance.
okay. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Sherman.
Good morning, esteemed council. Thank you for having us to hear our case.
Okay,
So my name is Keith Sherman, this is my wife Juanita.
Right.
I'm a disabled veteran serving the Navy for 26 years, and I'm here to, at the first time, I've never done this before, file this certification for disabled veterans property tax exclusion with the county. Got the form from the state's VA website, printed it off, had to send it, I sent it off in March 23rd of 2022, and received it back on 4/22/2022. And then, and that's, I didn't know I had to do anything further, so at that time, we waited for a property tax bill, and we got the tax bill, I'm pretty sure, June-ish, and the taxes are due 9/22, at which time, as soon as we got the bill, I came into the tax office and said, okay, I have this form, how could I have my tax bill reassessed, looked at again to reflect this exclusion for the disabled status? And at that time, it was already late. It was supposed to be there before June 1st, I think is the county's, how they do it. And I didn't know that there was, it needed to be. I couldn't find a date on the VA website for the state. And I think it's some kind of disparity maybe between state and county where those dates weren't listed and I couldn't find it. I certainly wouldn't have been late, and I've never used this exclusion before since I'm recently retired after 26 years. And if I'm here again next year, you could, let me know and tell me, like, we saw you last year, but I had no idea that I needed to have this in, and we'll have this in next year before the due date if I need to do it again. If it's only once, then, and I file it, then we'll have it reassessed. But we didn't know that there was a date, and it fell between the state and the county. I think we couldn't find the date.
okay. Okay. Ray, any questions? Mike? Mark?
No, sir.
Okay. With that, we'll hear from the county.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, we received the application on September 21st. That's the date that, I guess he showed up in the office. Due date is June the 1st. That being said, anything after June the 1st on the application, we can't look at. So that's kind of why we're here. We can't do anything with it without y'all's permission to look at it.
Okay. Okay. Questions? Mark?
No, sir.
Mike? Ray? Okay.
Just to remind the board, normally in a late application situation, we ask for either a military reason, like they're deployed, or a medical reason, that they're in the hospital or incapacitated. That's just our general guideline, so that, again, that's why this isn't a staff recommendation, because it doesn't fall within those two categories.
Okay.
Again, those are general guidelines.
Right. Any further comments, Mr. and Mrs. Sherman?
Well, I've never been a disabled veteran before.
Right.
So I don't know how the exact things work, and it's something that I wish I didn't have to have this form.
Yeah, understood. I think I've got the scope of it. I got the scope, of what's going on. Okay? We appreciate the information you brought before us, and as we said before, with the board will deliberate, and you'll be notified within 30 days of the decision. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you both. Okay?
Thank you. May we be excused?
You can, sure can.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your
Uh-huh.
time.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we'll move on to tab number 5. The property number is 06162-355. The owner is Christopher John Spitzerelli. I can turn this over to Travis, and he can give you some background information.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, so it's kind of the same scenario, due June the 1st. We received it on August 9th, so we can't look at it until y'all give us the go-ahead, and he didn't have a medical or military. It was kind of just a, let's see here, kind of just he didn't know, with all of his life stuff he has going on. There's a letter, I don't know if y'all have the letter in front of y'all, but there's a letter from him in there saying why he was late, so.
Questions? Mark,
No, sir.
Mike, Ray?
So according to their letter here, this is a medical situation, correct?
I didn't read it that way. I read as, he said, second to last paragraph, living on my own with the upheaval of challenges, I forgot to set myself a reminder to submit the property tax relief application by June the 1st, 2022. So that's,
Have you got this letter dated August 9th from them?
I do.
It says up there he's permanently disabled, is that true?
We do have a form from his doctor saying that he is.
That's all I have.
Yeah. I mean,
Just as a point of clarification, that's his disability. That's not the reason why he was late. So first he's saying, yes, I qualify for this exclusion because I am permanently 100% disabled. But if you read the last paragraph, like Travis said, he missed the deadline because he forgot to set himself a reminder.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions from the board? I think we can move on to the next one.
Okay. Tab number 6 is parcel number 09405-071. The property owner is Jeanette Williams Greenberg. And again, I'll turn this over to Travis to give you the background.
Okay, so
Okay,
this is a
Travis.
little bit different. She was timely. She turned it in April. But so I denied this one based off of income. So for income, the income limit was $31,900. So that being said, I have to use both her and her husband's income. Her husband passed away in October of 2021, so he received income from January 1 to October 2021. So I had to include his income as part of her income since they were married. And so that's why I denied it based off of income, and I did, so she wanted to appeal that. So then I sent an email to the DOR asking for clarification, and they agreed that we should count his income, because we would just have to use his income for the 2022 application. We used 2021 income, so that's what we did.
And that, that income calculation is statutory. That's not county
Right.
determined. So.
Okay. Questions? Mark,
No, sir.
Mike, Ray? Okay. Thank you. We can move on to the next tab.
Yes, sir. Tab number 7 and tab number 8 are staff recommendations. Wait, I think I have a third one.
I don't have anything in my book.
No,
on,
neither
but-
do I.
Okay.
These are yours, Travis, so let me just call them out. Tab number 7 is parcel number 07033327. The property owner is Jasmine McLaughlin. We are presenting a staff recommendation if you want to outline that for us, Travis.
Yeah, so the letter she sent in stated that she experienced both medical and financial hardships. So she had a brain procedure in March of '22, which delayed this process. So we took that as a medical reasoning, so that's why we brought it to you as a staff recommendation.
Okay. Any questions? Here, the next one.
And then tab number 8, the parcel number is 09025-034. The property owner is Mary Balcom. Travis, if you could let us know the situation on this one.
Kind of the same deal. Let's see here. She had 91 years old, 92 in August. She fell in December of 21 and had wraps on both her legs. And she was ordered to sit with her legs up, and she was released from the wound center on 6/3 of 22. So that's kind of, and then she scheduled a leg procedure. I think it's hard to read that. I think it's possibly June the 5th. So we took that as a medical reasoning.
Okay. Any questions? Okay.
Can I make a motion to let staff review?
Yeah.
Or do we move on somewhere else?
No, you can, because we're getting to go right into it if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, the two staff recs, I make a motion we accept them.
We got a motion, second.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Ray?
Ray?
Okay. Is it Mike? Mike did?
Mike.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So motion's carried to accept the staff recommendations on tabs 7 and 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now we'll go back to tab number 1. That was personal property. And they were appealing their annual late list penalty because they were a late filer.
This is the one where they sent it in March and we received it in April.
Well, the deadline's the 15th. We
They-
received it on the 25th. They thought it was the 31st, so
Right.
all in March.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, just as background, I mean, very rarely do annual late list penalties come before you. We normally wouldn't recommend that you waive it,
Right.
because the deadline's clear. And I would go on to say, and the taxpayer didn't appear for this, and they were invited. I'm sorry.
Right.
So the taxpayer was informed to be here today, but
Okay.
didn't come in to present their evidence.
Any discussion? Hmm,
I move we accept the penalty.
Okay.
I'll second.
Have a motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion's carried.
Okay, that takes us to tab number 2. And this was the valuation on the trailer.
This thing
Yep.
needs to be just moved down to what they got it for now.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, they do have the value, the county does have the value, is that correct, for 23 to be $3,000? Is that correct? So I'm not making that up.
Right.
I make a
And
motion
then
with,
they moved it down to 3687 or something for 2023.
but for 2022, it's 11,000.
Right.
That's correct.
Well, that trailer obviously not what.
No,
No, I agree.
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe he dropped the ball somewhere down the line. I mean,
I agree with you.
man's trying to make a living,
I know.
Yeah.
and that's well valued for that.
I did, exactly. I make a motion, we accept what was your final value for this year?
The final value for 2023?
Three, right.
Yes.
3,687.
Hang on 1 second, before you go down that road. From a legal standpoint, Robin,
Yes,
should we even be hearing this appeal?
because,
Statutorily, he was notified in April of the value of the property. The statute is very clear. It says that you have 30 days from the date of notice of the value to appeal.
But he's
He
here.
said he didn't get it, or he just said he didn't.
He said he didn't see it.
But we've got printed copies of the notices that he was sent, in the listing form and the letter,
Okay.
and the address is correct.
yeah,
So
he,
you're saying
I'm not even sure legally that you can be hearing this appeal.
that was my.
I think we need to understand that then before we rule on it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
so he's coming in based on the tax bill,
He's coming in based on the tax bill.
and he wants the tax bill compromised.
Right. So here's how personal property works, just so you know the full scope of the process. You get your listing form at the beginning of the year. You have until January 31st to file that. Unless you request an extension, then it's March 15th. If you do not file a listing form,
Right?
you're sent like Barbara said, a non-lister letter. Okay? That tells you what your value is for this year. Okay? The statute says you have 30 days from the date of notice of value to appeal the value.
Okay.
If you list, you don't know what your value is until your tax bill comes out. So
Right.
if you filed your listing form properly, you get your tax bill in the middle of August, you have 30 days from that date to appeal. Okay? He received his notice of value in
Yep.
April. So you've got there's a difference there in when you can appeal. So if Mike, as a farmer, listed his property properly in January, when he gets his tax bill in August, he can appeal within 30 days on the value. This gentleman received his value notice in April in writing. That starts his 30-day window. It's not 30 days from the tax bill, it's 30 days from the notice of value. So if that is a question, we can refer that to Richard Long to get clarification. And I would recommend as tax administrator that y'all table this until,
I
I'll
agree.
make a motion, we table it.
So I have a motion.
because I don't want to rule on,
Right.
I know we're not talking about a
agree.
lot of money, I
I
understand
agree,
that.
but yeah,
but
we
it-
need to,
But it sets precedent
right,
Right.
on how you handle those appeals
Right.
and the weight that those notifications carry.
I agree, I agree.
Okay.
So I got a
Sounds
motion
good.
from Mark, a second from Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So the motion's carried to table.
I understand
Yeah.
that maybe he disregarded it, and I also understand where you feel Ms. Lane's getting her numbers from on the value, but that's a ridiculous number.
I'm not going to disagree. I won't comment on the value. I'm looking at legal procedure right now.
Yeah, that's-
I don't necessarily disagree with you on that. Because we have,
Well, I think the county's recognized that too, if they've lowered the value to 3687. Sure.
yeah.
If memory serves me correct on this case, we also received that value from our DMV report.
Yeah, DMV has it at that value as well.
So I mean, we consider our reports from DMV to be legal instruments, just like deeds. And if it comes in, I mean, it could be, like he said, it doesn't say anything. His is a very basic trailer. It could have been a horse trailer. It could have been a fully kitted out construction trailer. I mean, we don't know. We don't have that information. So the trailer could have been $50,000, you know, depending on what it was used for.
Right.
All we see is a Kaufman trailer that's 7 by 16.
So there are actually 3 opportunities for a property owner to give us their value and provide documentation of what they paid. When we get the file from DMV, we send out cost letters like Barbara mentioned, ask him to provide us documentation as to how much they paid for the trailer so we can assess it at that value. Because if DMV comes in at 15,000 and you've got a bill of sale where you paid 10,
Right,
we're going to go with the 10 more often than not, okay?
right.
You got that, then you've got your listing form, and that would have been last year.
Yeah.
Then you've got your listing form in January, and then you've got the valuation notice in April. So there's 3 opportunities to provide that upon our request. Beyond that, taxpayer can let us know anytime how much they paid for it. But in this case, the individual did not do that. And so I want to get clarification legally, can this appeal even be heard?
Okay. I'm all for it.
Okay, so moving on to tab number 3.
Did they vote on that?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
got
we did.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we got there. that's
The account
tabled.
number is 299-866. The property owner is Steel Mountain Transport LLC. Again, we can't make a staff recommendation because it's not within our ability to do that, but this is an audit finding. These are late list penalties associated with the audit finding. This is the first time that they've asked for it, and they are a self-filer. So normally, the county would ask that the board
To waive it.
waive the late list
Yeah.
penalties this one time, and we make a clear note in the system.
I make a motion, we do that, waive the penalty.
Okay. So I've got a motion. Second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So motion is carried to waive the late list penalty on tab 3.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to tab number 4. So now we're going over to our applications. The first one is parcel number 05114-153, Keith and Juanita Sherman. And they didn't know what the deadline was for their late application for DAV.
I kind of say
Yeah, I kind
waive it. Let him,
of feel for the
Well,
guy
no,
because I
okay.
think he kind of got caught up in the minutia of all
First
the
time.
online filing and the first time doing it. And I just don't think he really I think he thought he was done.
I do too.
I really do. It's like,
You want me to
y'all are
make that
voting.
motion?
Y'all are voting, so, yeah. Yeah.
I make the motion.
So I've got a motion to waive the
No, we
late
would-
filing.
We would accept the late application.
That we accept, okay, got,
Yes.
so I have a motion that we accept the late application. Second from Ray. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Opposed, like sign. Motion's carried.
Okay, then the next tab is the same thing. It would be accepting a late application. The parcel number is 06162-355, and the property owner is Christopher John Spitzrelli.
He didn't show up, but he sent a letter,
Mm-hmm.
and,
I agree. Yeah.
I just think y'all, do y'all have a problem with,
And it was medical too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I make the motion, we allow the, what is it, late,
Accept untimely application.
accept the untimely application.
So I have that as a motion for tab 5 and a second from Mr. Ray. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So the motion is carried to accept the late application, correct?
That's,
On tab 5.
Okay, the last one to vote on this morning is tab number 6. The parcel number is 09405-071. The property owner is Jeanette Williams Greenberg. She does not qualify because her income exceeds the statutory amount.
because her husband died in October, so that income was taken in for the year.
Right.
So next year, I assume that income won't come in, so she'll be, I mean, that's just the way it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
y'all have to follow the rules on the guidelines for 31-9.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we would do is deny the application based on income exceeding statutory requirements.
I'll make that motion.
So we have that motion for Mr. Ashcraft, second for Mr. Rape. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. So the motion's carried on for
Thank
tab
you,
6
gentlemen.
to deny.
That ends the meeting today.
Okay.
We'll look into the legality of that one, whether or not we can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he showed up though. I thought
Yeah.
that was, yeah.
Yes, he did
It was
show up.
Right.
important
Oh,
for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. They'll have a good time explaining that to him when they go back to him possibly. So
what
we,
we'll do is
do we need to
We'll
adjourn?
have to,
Yes.
we need to adjourn the meeting, but we'll have to put that one on December.
Yeah,
So we'll have a very short meeting in December.
okay.
Okay,
If anything else comes up late application wise, we'll have those on in December as well.
okay.
And then we'll go from there.
All
Okay.
right,
All right. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second by Ray. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting
It will
adjourned.
be in December. I don't have the date in front of me, but it's December.
Hold on. I think I do.
You really do?
I think it's like December 11th, maybe.
No, we have one on the 3rd and one on the 10th.
We will only have one, I promise you.
Okay,
Good.
well, y'all send us the email on.
It'll be December 3rd.
It's not on a Monday, is it? Y'all like these Monday meetings? I don't like Monday meetings. Yeah, it
Kind of ruins your weekend.
Oh, it
doesn't
does.